TNA Wrestling. Cross the line. It's a new year, a new decade. But for the athletes and fans of TNA Wrestling, it's far more than that. It's the dawn of a new era in professional wrestling.
Tonight, we celebrate the biggest night in TNA history.
You can feel that change is literally hovering in the air.
The greatest athletes in the sport today have combined forces with the most recognizable legends and icons of all time. Youthful dreams have merged with enduring passions. Experience and potential have propelled TNA Wrestling into a bright new future. Phenomenal superstars etching their mark in the annals of time. Impossible, unachievable, are words that are not relevant here. In this world, there are no limits.
No great success comes without risk, and I'm great with that. I hope you are too. Now's our time. I look out at the faces that have made this company, and you've made me very proud. But this is a test, so I'm asking all of you to step it up in every way possible.
A genesis is unfolding.
What you gonna do, Hulkamaniacs?
This is a new age, a new decade. The next evolution in the art of professional wrestling has arrived.
I can't hear you guys out there.
Tonight, we take a look at the events that have transpired over the past 3 months. From the shot heard around the world, Hulk Hogan's live debut in the biggest Impact ever, to the main event on January 17th that will determine the best pure professional wrestler in the world today. TNA Wrestling proudly presents Before the Bell. Genesis. October 27, 2009. TNA Wrestling President Dixie Carter set out to change the course of TNA Wrestling's future. The journey began early Tuesday morning in Nashville, Tennessee.
It was an exciting morning. We had worked so hard over the months leading up to this date. It was exciting to finally tell the world. I knew this was going to be the single most important day in TNA history. To be able to sign the biggest name ever to step foot in a wrestling ring, Hulk Hogan, was huge for our company.
Madison Square Garden, the most famous arena in the world, was the backdrop for the announcement that would shock wrestling fans worldwide.
All right, man. Thank you guys so much for coming. It's so nice to be back in the house that Hogan built. First thing I need to do before I let you know what my plans are about climbing back in the ring here in the United States, I'd like to introduce you to my new business partner, Dixie Carter from TNA. Yeah, you could say we're getting back in the ring big time.
Wow, what a big day. Thank you guys so much. You know, there is no single name that defines an industry more than Hulk Hogan. He's one of the most recognizable people in the entire world. He's a pop icon. And I can tell you today, on behalf of everybody at TNA Wrestling, we are so thrilled to have you join our company. The man, the brand, all you Hulkamaniacs! A little over 70 years ago, TNA Wrestling started, and we were a television show that broadcast weekly pay-per-views to tens of thousands of people. And here we are today at Madison Square Garden, announcing the biggest acquisition you can have in the history of wrestling.
This is intense, man. I feel like I've been born again. This is awesome. When TNA approached me, and when I saw how aggressive they were and how they made a stance and how they dug in with Spike TV, I knew this is where I wanted to be. That's why I'm getting back in the mix of this business right here in TNA, because this is the company that's going to lead the way in the future. I guarantee that. My focus is to make this the #1 sports entertainment company in the business, and I just think that there are so many things that they have going for them. There are so many positives that they have that I just think they needed a little momentum shifter like Hulk Hogan to make a statement, just like the last time I decided to switch gears. The people I worked with, the company I worked with, in a short amount of time, we showed the world that we were putting out the best product. Dixie Carter's got her act together. You couldn't have a better partner than Spike TV. And I'm telling you, man, I'm really looking forward to getting in the mix. I don't know what's gonna happen, brother, because when I go at it, I'm going at it wide open. Probably the last thing to say is, hey, what you gonna do, Hulkamaniacs? When the greatest network of all time, Spike TV, my new partner Dixie Carter and Hulk Hogan run wild on you. What you gonna do?
I don't know how the partnership is gonna affect wrestling. The partnership is still in its infantile stages. Hopefully, this is a strong relationship, a good business relationship that will benefit everybody.
You know, the first time that I heard that Hulk was coming to TNA, I mean, I was taken aback a bit. I mean, anytime you get a athlete who's meant that much to the sport, who's meant that much to this industry, who's been a champion so many times and has, you know, pretty much brought the world to the doorstep of this thing we call pro wrestling. I mean, it's a huge deal. So, I mean, I was shocked to say the least.
When we had the press conference in Madison Square Garden, that was the shot that was heard around the world. Hundreds of years nobody had been in the Garden. Vince Sr., Vince, his father, his great-grandfather, then Hulk Hogan slid in the back door. It woke everybody up in the wrestling world, woke everybody up in the world. TNA and Hulk Hogan have teamed up.
With TNA Wrestling garnering an avalanche of mainstream media attention, the TNA roster was buzzing.
Wrestling at one point in time was taboo. You didn't really talk about it. You were, you know, you were a closet fan, so to speak. And now all of a sudden Hulk Hogan had made that a household name in terms of using the word professional wrestling.
All of the rumors and finally the confirmation of Hulk Hogan partnering with Dixie Carter and what this is going to do for the TNA organization going forward. I think we've made great strides in the first 7 years, but I think that even just in the past month, we've made greater strides, especially in terms of public perception.
There's only one company and there's no choices for the fans or the talent. And I said, you know what, I know a lot about this business and I want to give everybody a choice again. So I hooked up with TNA, and I don't know what's going to happen, but I know just a little bit about this business. So it's going to be kind of cool to get back in there and talk to these young guys about theory and the art form and get them back on track with this thing.
Ladies and gentlemen, Hulk Hogan.
Hulk has just joined TNA Wrestling. That stands for Total Nonstop Action. You going back in the ring?
No, I defy you to find any professional wrestler in this day and age who hasn't been influenced by Hulk Hogan, who hasn't been at least brought to the sport or introduced to the sport through Hulk Hogan. I mean, the man's an icon.
I mean, I'm still, you know, I'm not even here a year, and just having someone to the level, a household name like Hulk Hogan, to be part of this company is just amazing. And now, on January 17th, Hulk Hogan makes his TNA pay-per-view debut. Come on, how much bigger can you get?
But questions were still left unanswered. Time would tell what Hulk Hogan's role would be in TNA Wrestling, and those questions would be answered soon enough.
It's time for a change.
Ever since I won this world title, there's been changes in my life, changes in TNA, and those have all been positive changes.
Business is about choices.
Ladies and gentlemen, the one, the only, Hulk Hogan!
Hulk has just joined TNA Wrestling. That stands for Total Nonstop Action.
This is the company that's going to lead the way in the future. I guarantee that.
Now is our time to take this to another level.
What you gonna do, Hulkamaniacs, when my new partner Dixie Carter and Hulk Hogan run wild on you?
Find that passion that made you want to be a wrestler.
What you gonna do, Hulkamaniacs? What you gonna do?
We're on a new playing field. We're at a whole new level, baby.
Although I've held the World Heavyweight title before, there was a certain initials in front of it that wasn't TNA. But now being the TNA World Heavyweight Champion, when I won that, and I can't put it into words how special that was for me.
AJ Styles is one of a kind. He has a style that nobody can really compare it to. You can't really compare AJ Styles to anybody else. He's explosive, he's exciting to watch, he has a lot of great technique, he has a lot of big dangerous moves.
I think when AJ Styles won the TNA World Heavyweight title, he removed a lot of the doubts. People had questioned him in the past. They knew he was terrific as an X Division competitor, as a tag team wrestler, but this was his chance to prove that he deserved to be World Heavyweight Champion.
On November 22nd, 2009, the phenomenal AJ Styles defended his TNA World Heavyweight Championship against Samoa Joe and Daniels in a three-way war, while Kurt Angle was looking to put a stop to his cunning nemesis, Desmond Wolfe. At the end of the night, TNA wrestling fans witnessed two historic bouts that were voted the top two matches of the year in 2009. AJ Styles walked away with his TNA World Championship. Kurt Angle proved to the world that he was still at the top of his game. It was only a matter of time before Angle would demand a shot at World Championship number 14. Hulk Hogan has achieved immortal status in this industry. His legacy, his accolades, his immortality in professional wrestling are second to none. But the world was still asking why? Why TNA wrestling? Why now?
Everybody better have something to bring. Everybody better have something to contribute. If not, I'm gonna show them where the door is. This is Dixie Carter's company. This is TNA. I've been hired to make this work better than it's ever worked. I don't have the luxury to lace up the yellow boots or the luxury to lace up the black boots. I have to prove myself. This is new for me too. I've stuck my neck out. I'm not gonna let anybody walk the walk or talk the talk unless they can really do it. When I come to TNA, we're gonna try to find that lost feel. We're gonna try to put life back into those great wrestlers at TNA. If you depend on writers to talk, and you depend on the writers to tell you what to say, if you depend on an agent, an ex-old wrestler in the back telling you how to wrestle in the ring or work your match, if you can't do this on your own, you might as well pack your bags up and go up north. That's what they do there. In TNA, the game changes. You need to be able to talk, walk, deliver, wrestle, and light that place on fire. You gotta work for your job and prove that you've got something to bring to the table. TNA, Dixie Carter, and Hulk Hogan, it's time for the new era. Time for the battle to begin. I'm so psyched, it's unbelievable.
On December 3rd, TNA President Dixie Carter sat down for her first one-on-one interview on national television. She not only cleared the air regarding her new business partner, Hulk Hogan, but also discussed the Icon Sting's retirement and Jeff Jarrett's current situation in TNA wrestling.
Can we talk about the Sting situation as it pertains to TNA?
You know, for me as the president of this company and as a fan, I can't imagine wrestling, much less TNA, without him. But 2 weeks ago when we spoke, he said, you know, you just brought in Hulk Hogan. And I said, yeah, and what are you going to do about it? I think it made him think really hard. Not showing up for that interview was something I didn't expect from him. But quite honestly, I'm not calling him. I'm giving him space right now. And I'm just going to continue to do everything I can to make him make the decision I feel that we all want to see happen, and that's for Sting to stay.
Are you willing to comment on the situation concerning TNA founder Jeff Jarrett, both as it relates to the present and the future with TNA?
The bottom line is there was a personal situation that affected the company, and it put all of us in a very difficult position. Jeff was placed on leave, both as a talent and in his capacity with the company, and I'd like to leave it at that.
The partnership between yourself, TNA, and Hulk Hogan has been absolutely huge for the organization. Maybe you can take us back and give us a little insight, especially in terms of, well, maybe how the negotiations started between yourself and Hulk.
I had heard Hogan talking about TNA a couple times on the radio, so I decided to give him a call. We talked twice in the past, but it was just never the right time for us to work together. He returned my phone call, and actually, just a couple of days later, 2 days later, he flew to Nashville, came to my house. Actually, we sat in this room right here, and we met and talked for hours, and it just really felt right. I think we both left that afternoon's meeting knowing that we were going to get this done, and it was a very easy negotiation.
What does the partnership with Hulk Hogan mean to TNA?
He brings so much to us. TNA in itself is such a fantastic company, but we need greater awareness. And who better to bring worldwide, talk and exposure to our company than him? He's probably one of the most recognizable people on this planet. He is one of the greatest wrestling minds that there's ever been. And I've never seen him in the years that I've known and talked to him to be in such a great place where I feel like his contribution is just going to be tremendous.
I want you to look into the future for me and tell me where you see TNA in the next 10 years.
That talent meeting a few weeks ago, I looked out in the faces of everyone in those stands, and I knew that we were ready. I knew that we were all united in our goal, and that's to make TNA the biggest and most successful wrestling company in the world. The addition of Hulk Hogan, we're not trying to recreate history. We're trying to make history. History for TNA, history for our fans, for our talent, for all those who have stuck with us for 7 years, and for those who are just discovering us today. In the coming days, you'll see exactly how serious we are about taking things to another level.
Partnering up with Hulk Hogan, Dixie Carter has shown the world that TNA is ready to step up to the plate and be the #1 company in the world today.
I know a lot of fans are going to be curious. I know a lot of fans are going to want to see what Hulk Hogan's going to bring to the table. They're going to want to hear what he has to say. They're going to want to see Hulk Hogan do his thing. And you know what? I'm going to want to see him too.
Dixie Carter had promised to take TNA wrestling to another level. On Saturday, December 5th, in front of millions of fans, live from the UFC Tough season finale on Spike TV, Hulk Hogan made another huge announcement.
It is my honor to be here with one of the greatest professional wrestlers of all time, sports and entertainment, huge personality, the one and only Hulk Hogan. I understand that you have recently announced a partnership with TNA Wrestling and its president, Dixie Carter, and you're going to be moving to Spike TV. We're going to see some Hulkamania on Spike TV. Tell us more about that.
Well, brother, tonight I got a ton of energy, and I'm partners with Spike, I'm partners with Dixie Carter, I'm partners with TNA, and we just got the green light, brother. On January 4th, TNA Impact, we're going wide open. We're going to battle with a WWE. Monday night, January 4th, Hulk Hogan and TNA, we're coming after everybody.
After nearly a decade, TNA Impact was firing the first shot at the competition, going head-to-head with WWE in what promised to be the biggest TNA Impact in company history.
I'm fired up about that. Going head-to-head with WWE, that's what TNA needs. We're hungry. We're ready. Are we WWE yet? No. Are we gonna be? Yes.
What a great way to get started for 2010 by going live for 3 hours on a Monday night. TNA has all the tools. It has great wrestlers. 2010 should be a huge year for us.
It's shaking up the wrestling world. It's got people talking again, which is a great thing for not only TNA wrestling, but for wrestling in general. And, I'm just excited and happy to be a part of the whole thing.
It's time for the battle to begin. It's the beginning of a new era. We are going to change wrestling once again. The talent has a choice, and the fans definitely have a choice.
Tonight, we celebrate the biggest night in TNA history.
You can feel that change is literally hovering in the air.
The Impact Zone, absolutely electric. The Nature Boy, Ric Flair, is in TNA.
The TNA we know right now will never ever be the same.
A night when we promised you shocks. A night when we promised you surprises.
Jeff Hardy is here in TNA.
This is the moment that we've been anticipating for months. Hulk Hogan live in the Impact Zone.
TNA is going to be the #1 company in the world. Now, when me and Park heard that Hulk Hogan was going to be here, that means one thing to us: big paychecks, big sold-out arenas, and big parties. It doesn't work that way anymore, brother.
When the hell did you turn so corporate? Oh boy, that's Eric Bischoff.
The game changes now. Everybody has to earn their spot in this company. Those are the 2 greatest wrestlers in this business today. Kurt Angle and AJ Styles, you just raised the TNA bar to a whole nother level.
Everybody is going to be under a microscope.
7 years ago, I founded TNA. Every critic in the world said we wouldn't last 6 weeks. I'm standing in the middle of the 6-sided ring on a Monday night, the greatest night in company history.
You ran this company into the ground. I now am Dixie Carter's partner. You need to grab your boots, get in line with the rest of the crew. You gotta prove yourself.
And what we're going to do is turn this company upside down.
I made myself a promise. I would never work for Eric Bischoff again. You've got no power, you've got no control, you've got nothing but one choice, and that's to get in line with everybody else, put your boots on and fight for your job.
January 4th, live 3-hour spectacular we put on here in TNA, going more or less head up against Monday Night Raw, was it put us on the map. It proved that we will not only run with the big dogs, we'll throw punches, stiff punches at the face of the big dog.
I undoubtedly think that the live show set the tone for what TNA is and what it's going to be throughout 2010 and for its foreseeable future.
Sunday, January 17th, was 2 weeks away. Yet the genesis had already started in TNA wrestling, and the best was yet to come. On Sunday, January 17th, 2 of professional wrestling's best will compete for the World Championship. The world will be watching when Kurt Angle and the phenomenal AJ Styles wage war one-on-one.
When it comes right down to it, it's who wants it bad enough. And I think we both want that world title bad.
AJ Styles, Kurt Angle, Genesis. AJ and Kurt, probably 2 of the top 5 wrestlers in the world.
I would think that if you have to give an advantage to either Kurt Angle or to AJ Styles, I would have to go advantage champion. I just think that this is AJ Styles' time.
Man, it's been a rough year for me. I had a lot of personal problems, things that I had to endure.
Kurt, I know you've been through a lot, and I've seen the change in you. Don't get me wrong, I've seen it. But if you think you're going to come in there, in that ring, and take my belt away from me, you're sadly mistaken.
Winning the TNA World Heavyweight title would just be that feather in my cap to show, you know, what kind of heart I have. When I go out there January 17th at Genesis, I'm gonna put everything on the line. Every bit of heart I have, all the emotion I have, everything I have in my body. I'm gonna put it out there, I'm gonna lay it on the line, and by the time the match is over, I will have nothing left.
Kurt and AJ meeting again for the World Heavyweight title. You've got the man who exemplifies true wrestling excellence in Kurt Angle against the man who's been touted as the face of TNA for the past 7+ years, AJ Styles. So now it's going to be a matter of the face of TNA versus the heart of wrestling and what's going to come out on top.
If you're a fan of wrestling, just pure wrestling, I mean, you're going to get exactly what you want. I mean, these 2 are 2 of the best pro wrestlers in the world.
So when you got 2 of the greatest wrestlers in the same ring over the greatest prize, you are going to get one hell of a match. That is what the fans can expect.
Kurt versus AJ may go down as one of the greatest matches of all time.
In terms of AJ, I think that this match probably means a lot to his career going forward, and a win over Kurt Angle one-on-one would finally solidify his place in the TNA roster. As far as Kurt Angle is concerned, a win over AJ, that puts him exactly where he wants. That puts him back on top of the heap.
I don't know that AJ Styles is the best athlete in professional wrestling. That's not for me to decide. I do go out there and do what I can to win matches. You know, and do I rely on my athletic ability? Sure I do. Kurt Angle being the best wrestler in the world today, That's hard. It's hard for me to say that.
I don't hate AJ. I don't have any bad feelings toward AJ. I respect him. I fear him. He's that good. But there is something deep inside of me that wants to prove, not just to AJ, not just to the fans, but to myself, that I am still the best wrestler in the whole entire world. And I have to prove that at Genesis by beating AJ Styles.
In the past 3 months, these two competitors have been to hell and back. On this night of firsts, expectations have been raised to another level for Kurt Angle, the phenomenal AJ Styles, and the entire TNA wrestling roster.
January 17th at Genesis, well, I don't think a pay-per-view could be any more appropriately named. I mean, you're going to see a Genesis in this company. You're going to see brand new things. You're going to see us enter into a whole new era. And come Genesis, the world will know that TNA is a force to be reckoned with.
I can't wait for January 17th. Genesis is going to be one of my greatest matches of all time. I'm going to give AJ Styles everything I have. I'm in the prime of my career right now. A lot of people think that I'm too old, too banged up. I feel great. This is the best I've ever felt, and I'm going to go after AJ, and I'm going to do what I always do. I'm going to steal the show, and I'm going to win the title.
I think the fans on January 17th can expect excitement. You have an action-packed pay-per-view.
I think January 17th is going to be the night that all these paths converge. People returning, people debuting, Kurt and AJ in the main event. The fate of TNA hangs in the balance for all of these things.
At Genesis on January 17th, fans can expect the unexpected. And I think that's the most exciting thing about wrestling, and it's the most exciting thing about TNA, and it's something that's been missing from the entire industry, and it's something that is coming back.
Well, from the moment that Dixie Carter announced the partnership with Hulk Hogan, we have seen that change in TNA is inevitable. And I think what you're going to see at Genesis is that next stage, that next step, that next chapter, where every man and every woman on the roster steps it up accordingly.
This match is one of the most important matches of my life because I know that AJ and I were both at our very best. You're looking at the two best wrestlers in the whole entire world, AJ Styles and Kurt Angle. Whoever wins that match, I guarantee, without a doubt, is the best wrestler in the world.
Why is Genesis the must-see pay-per-view of the year? Hulk Hogan, Kurt Angle, AJ Styles, World Championship.
TNA Wrestling's Before the Bell has looked back at the announcement that shocked the world of professional wrestling. The partnership, the first shot, the war. On January 17th, it will be a night of firsts, a night of returns, a night of surprises. You can expect the unexpected. The biggest name in professional wrestling returns to pay-per-view. The main event will determine the best wrestler in the world today. TNA Wrestling presents Genesis. TNA Wrestling live on pay-per-view.